Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be talking about a major winter storm for the southeast. But before we get into that, make sure to check the description for my Patreon and for my Discord server. We have fun in there, and there are also some weather talk VCs and a few incidents that I had to deal with but are taken care of. But we can see already we're starting off with the GFS. A little bit of snow here, but we can see the low pressure system used to be right here, right? But now has shifted down here and is going to move up the coast like this, the east coast, and areas with the most snow should be right here. Areas with the most snow, probably the mountains, Appalachian Mountains could get the most snow. West Virginia also could get a ton of snow. But let's go ahead and move it out a few hours. So we can already see, let's go and put it back. So we can see the low pressure system starting to move up the east coast here. We can see a good bit of severe weather right here. And then some snowy weather up here. And that will transition as this storm starts to move up here. We can see that freezing line right here. And as the rain starts to move in, it starts to transition to snow and ice. This could be a very damaging event. Snow, ice, and freezing rain. So as we can already see here, freezing rain will be in around this area, right? Freezing rain here. And it's a good bit. So the way this storm is situated is because it's pulling up so much warm moisture from the Gulf here. We can see, let's go ahead and look at the layers. So here's the lowest layer. Here's a mid layer, and then here is the top layer, or getting like very high into the atmosphere. So the lowest layer is very cold, around 30 to 40 degrees in some areas. Now here it is getting really warm, like 40 degrees to 50 degrees. Right? It gets really warm, probably closer to the 40s range, and this will probably be closer to the 30s range, but we're just stretching it out a little bit for these very close to rain, icy areas below the 540 line. So this is because it's feeding in from the Gulf. This mid layer is getting so much warm moisture that it is warming the flakes up here. Right here, it will probably be 20 to 30 degrees, right? So it's pretty cold up here. Snowflakes form, they fall down here, they melt, and they don't have enough time to refreeze in these temperatures, and that's when they fall as freezing rain. So they're very cold water droplets. As soon as they hit, say, the cold metal here, they freeze into ice, right? As soon as they hit there, they freeze into ice. And that is what is happening here, and why freezing rain is happening. So we can see a good bit of snow for southwestern Tennessee. Very heavy snow, very heavy wet snow. We can see here light snow so far for the Carolinas, and pretty heavy ice for South Carolina, a bit of Georgia, and South North Carolina. Move it out another 6 hours frames. So basically this piece of snow has moved through the Carolinas now and is moving up to Virginia. We can see still very heavy snow in Tennessee, very heavy wet snow. And then we can see the ice starts to go into the Piedmont here and the mountains, which causes a bunch of problems. Up to 1 inch of ice, maybe even 2 inches. We're not leaving that out of the question here. Maybe even 2 inches, which is very damaging and disrupting to the society in North Carolina and South Carolina and Virginia. The main bullseye will be this area here. This will be the main area for ice. Here will be more snow. Here will be more rain. So now that's right large in the middle of warm and cold. That warm air feeding into the mid layer will be causing the snowflakes or ice to melt down and not have enough time to refreeze before it hits the ground. And that is what causes this freezing rain. This is a very rare event because of how far south, the way it relocated low pressure system down here and started heading up the east coast as a sort of Miller B nor'easter, where it starts as a clipper system, comes down and tries to become a nor'easter up here. Now, if we move it out another 6 hours, another fleet, fleet, another big area of snow here going across Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. This will be causing the snow amounts to climb even more. And the reason why West Virginia could be getting a good bit of snow is because the reason why the snow could be lingering for a really long time up here. Now, if we move it out another 6 hours, this is where the storm starts to move out the southeast and causes more powdery snow up here because of how cold it is. It won't be as much of a problem for the northeast, but it will still be disrupting, as some ice could fall and snow, of course, either way could cancel or delay flights and could cause hazardous traveling conditions. Now, if we go to the total snowfall, 10 to 1 SLR, we can see here, after the storm has passed, we can see even though Tennessee has gotten very heavy snow for hours on end, we don't see that many accumulations. And the reason why is because the ground is not cold enough. Now, in the Carolinas, we can see the bullseye right here in the Appalachians here. 16 inches, 17 inches, getting up to the higher end here, up to 20 inches. Now, here in the Piedmont, where the Piedmont Triad could be getting ice, and a lot of it, freezing rain, they will be getting up to 13 inches. This is a little bit overboard, I would say myself. So Piedmont could be getting up to 13 inches, but the more likely is over here, which is 8 inches, 9 inches, give or take, to 1 inch, which is still a good bit of snow. Your average for the year is around 6 inches, this is big here. Big snowstorm. 6 inches, you can't complain. I mean, it'll definitely be enough to cover the grass. And as we can see in Virginia, we can see 12, 8, 10, 11, 11 inches. So anywhere from 5 inches here to a foot in this area. And West Virginia, the storm hasn't fully passed, so we'll see as we move it on. 12 inches here. So the bullseye really goes along here with the GFS. Now let's go ahead and move on to the NAM 12 kilometer model. I thought you probably thought I was going to say 32 kilometer. I'm using the 12 kilometer because I really think it's better than the 32 kilometer. Let's do the radar / frozen. This is 6 hours out, so 7 p.m. Right now, it is 7 p.m. So this is about what I expected right now at the time of recording this video. And we can see it's pretty accurate, as snow is just starting to linger and the low pressure system has been replaced down farther south. Now, as we move up, it will be heading this track, maybe a little bit further east. It is shifting east, but we'll see what happens. The farther east it go, the farther this bullseye of ice will go east. Now, and then the snow bullseye would also shift east, of course, because the storm is shifting east. All the totals will shift east. So if you're in the Piedmont, Appalachians, and coastal regions of Virginia, North Carolina, those are probably our bullseye areas, and South Carolina for major ice and snow. Now, if we go ahead and move it on to when it is going to start hitting, we can see the Appalachians already starting to get snow in North Carolina. In North Carolina, we can see still snow over here for Tennessee. What is that? I don't know what state that is. I need to work on my states. Louisiana, and rain for Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, South Carolina. Now, if we go ahead and move out 2 hours here, we can see the snow starting to get pretty heavy here for a little sliver of South and Georgia, and then the most of it is in North Carolina. But the snow also gets heavier over here near the Tennessee region. Now, if we move it out 2 more hours, we can see already the ice starting to develop here. Big swath of ice here over South Carolina and North Carolina. Big swath there that could be causing some big problems. A little sliver of Georgia here. If we move it out 2 more hours, we can see the ice definitely starting to move in to the North Carolina rain. We can see here pretty big swath of ice. Let's go ahead and move it out 2 more hours. We can see the snow really starting to move out of North Carolina. Excuse me. And a little bit of rain. We can see big amounts of ice here for Georgia, South Carolina, and mainly North Carolina, but that will be moving out soon. The snow's starting to tamper off here. And let's go ahead and move it out another 2 hours. The snow is definitely starting to move into Virginia now, and the ice is starting to creep in. Now, the midst of it, the middle of it, is in North Carolina right now, but that will be moving out in the next 2 hours. It has fully moved out of South Carolina. Georgia is getting some snow. Atlanta, you guys are not used to that because, you know, this is a very rare storm that doesn't happen every year. Definitely doesn't. But we can see the snow starting to become more stretched out this way, causing more snowfall over here, but less heavy. We can see the ice starting to dissipate as the storm moves out, and the Northeast will be getting more powdery snow as the storm fully moves out. Now, this is where I was talking about how they could be getting, West Virginia could be getting more snow. As we can see, even when the storm moves out, snow could still be lingering up to January 17th, which is a day after, and then keeps on going and finally dissipates on morning of January 18th, and finally disappears from West Virginia at 1 p.m. January 18th, the afternoon, 2 days after the storm has left. Well, let's go ahead and look at the snowfall totals. We can see total snowfall over here. We can see a little bit more than the GFS for the Piedmont region over here. A little bit more for swath of West Virginia, but a little bit less for the Appalachian Mountains, and a little bit more for South Carolina. That is really the main difference, but there are differences in between these models, especially the NAM is counting on more ice, but we'll see when the time actually comes, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!